The Grand Council chamber was massive. Its walls stretched high into darkness, and holographic screens floated in the air showing maps of space. Representatives from 30 different alien species sat in their assigned seats. Some were tall and thin. Others were broad and heavy. A few did not even have solid bodies. They all waited for the meeting to start. Captain Matthew Harper sat in the back section with the other human representatives. His uniform was clean and pressed. His face was calm, but his hands were tight on his knees. He had asked to speak today about the Vrel threat. The council had not wanted to listen, but he had demanded time anyway. They had given him 5 minutes at the end of the meeting. Harper was a military man. He had spent 30 years in the Earth Defense Force. His gray hair and strong face told the story of a life spent fighting and protecting. He had led operations on Mars. He had defended the first human colonies. He had lost people under his command, and that weight never left him. Earth had joined the Galactic Council only 5 years ago. The other species had been shocked when humanity arrived. They had expected humans to be more primitive. Instead, they found a species that was advanced, but also different in ways they did not understand. Humans did not think like other species. Humans fought differently. Humans loved differently. The meeting began with reports from Council Elder Voss. Voss was ethereal, a species of beings made of energy and light. He had served the council for 300 years. He looked down at the gathered representatives with cold eyes. His voice was smooth and empty of emotion. The Vrel have attacked 2 outer colonies, Voss said. They have destroyed farming settlements and taken resources. This is not new behavior for them. The Vrel are aggressive. We have known this for centuries. We will handle this situation with our usual methods. Councillor Dex stood up. Dex was xenoreptilian, a species that looked like large lizards standing on 2 legs. His scales were green and gold. His voice was sharp and quick. The Vrel attacks are increasing, Dex said. The last attack was larger than the one before. They are testing our defenses. They are moving closer to human space. Voss turned to Dex with no expression. The Vrel will be stopped. We do not need to change our strategy because of increased attacks. We have fought the Vrel many times. We know how to defeat them. But the attacks are more frequent, Dex said again. We need more forces in the outer regions. Voss did not answer. Instead, he looked at the other council members. The council will send additional patrol ships to monitor Vrel movements. We will increase defensive stations around the threatened worlds. This is sufficient. Harper watched this exchange. He knew what was coming. The council was not taking the Vrel threat seriously. They had grown too comfortable. They had too many ships. They had too much power. They thought they could handle any problem the same way they always had. But Harper had studied the reports on the Vrel. He had looked at the attack patterns. The Vrel were not just being aggressive. They were being smart. They were testing defenses. They were learning. A representative from the Kelthian species stood up. She was tall and had skin like blue crystal. The human representative has asked to speak. The protocol requires we hear him. Voss turned to Harper. His eyes held no respect. You have 5 minutes, human. Speak. Harper stood up and walked to the front of the chamber. Every eye in the room turned to him. He was the only human here. He was smaller than many of the species in this room. He was weaker in ways that mattered in space battles. But he was still dangerous. Some of the older council members remembered Earth from the days before humans had learned to leave their world. They knew that humans were predators. Earth was a harsh place. Humans had evolved to kill and to protect. But many years had passed since then. The younger council members thought of humans as just another species. Just another group that wanted peace and trade. Harper did not waste time with courtesy. He began to speak. His voice was strong and clear. "The Vrel threat is not being taken seriously," Harper said. "I have studied the attack patterns. The attacks are not random. The Vrel are targeting worlds with strategic value. They are attacking colonies that do not have strong defenses. They are gathering resources. They are building something. The Council is treating this as normal conflict. This is a mistake." Voss made a sound that was almost like a laugh. "The human believes the Vrel are more dangerous than we think. The human believes our 300-year strategy for dealing with the Vrel is wrong." This is interesting. Some of the council members made sounds of agreement. Some of them actually laughed. "I believe the Vrel are moving toward major conflict," Harper continued. "I believe they have a plan. In 3 to 5 years, if we do not increase our defensive efforts now, they will attack a major world. They will attack a world that is important to the stability of the Council." "And what does the human propose?" Voss asked. "Should we go to war with the Vrel? Should we spend resources on this threat when we have no clear proof of major danger?" "I propose that we increase military presence in the outer regions," Harper said. "I propose that we prepare for serious conflict. I propose that we take this threat seriously before it becomes too late." Elder Voss stood up. He was very tall. His body was made of flowing light, and it hurt to look at him directly. His voice was hard and cutting. "The human comes from a young species that has been in space for only 100 years. The human comes from a world of violence and aggression. The human sees danger in everything because that is what humans understand. We, the species of this council, have been navigating galactic space for thousands of years. We understand the difference between a minor threat and a major one. We do not need the advice of a young species that still carries the primitive instincts of its violent homeworld." The chamber went silent. Harper felt the weight of every eye on him. He wanted to respond with anger. He wanted to tell Voss that Earth had survived because humans understood danger. Humans understood the cost of failure. Humans did not have the luxury of thinking about problems from a distance. But Harper said nothing more. He sat down. The vote came next. The council voted to increase patrols. The council voted to add a few defensive stations. No major changes. No serious preparations. The meeting ended, and the representatives filed out of the chamber. Harper stayed in his seat for a long time. He was already thinking about what he would do next. His orders from Earth were clear. Stay diplomatic. Follow the council's lead. Do not cause trouble. But Harper had not survived 30 years in the military by following orders that he knew were wrong. That night, Harper sent an encrypted message to Earth. He told the military leaders what he had seen. He told them what he believed was coming. He told them to begin quiet preparations. He told them to prepare Earth's forces for combat. The message was against his orders. It was a betrayal of the Council's trust. But Harper knew something that the Council had forgotten. Humans did not sit and wait when danger came. Humans prepared. Humans fought. Humans protected what they loved. 3 days later, Harper received a message back from Colonel Kevin Hayes, the head of Earth's military command. The message was short. It said only this: preparations beginning. God help us. Harper looked out at the stars through the station window. He was thinking about Kepler 442b, the colony with 50,000 people. He was thinking about the families there. He was thinking about the children. He did not know it yet, but his quiet disobedience would save thousands of lives. He did not know yet that this moment was the beginning of something that would change the entire galaxy. Kepler 442b was a beautiful world. The sky was purple at dawn. The soil was rich and dark. The colonies had been built near water sources and natural resources. Families had settled here to start new lives. Children played in the green fields. Scientists studied the local plant life. Farmers worked the soil. The world felt safe. Commander Lucas Wright stood in the central command station and looked at the screens showing the colony below. 300 soldiers under his command protected 50,000 colonists. It was not much of a force, but the Council had said that Kepler 442b was safe. The Council had said that the Vrel would not come this far into Council space. The Council had said that the defensive systems were enough. 300 soldiers against an alien invasion force would not be enough. Lucas knew this. But Lucas was not the type of man to complain about orders. He had joined the military because he believed in protecting people. He had come to Kepler 442b because he believed in the colony. He believed in the work they were doing here. Dr. Patricia Moore was the colony director. She had built Kepler 442b from nothing. She had brought the first ships here and overseen the construction of the settlement domes. She had created schools and hospitals. She had established farms and research centers. Patricia had poured 15 years of her life into this colony. She had turned a lifeless world into a home for thousands of people. Patricia stood in the colony administration building and looked at reports. The harvest was coming in well. Population numbers were growing. The school system was expanding. She felt proud of what they had built. She felt safe here. At 6 in the morning, the alarm started. They came from space. Ships appeared on the screens without warning. They were not Council ships. They were not human ships. They were Vrel. Lucas received the message in his command center. Vrel warships approaching. Estimate 15 to 20 major vessels. Many smaller fighters. Lucas did not waste time. He immediately activated the defense protocols. He called all off-duty soldiers to the station. He sent orders to the planetary defense grid. Every laser cannon, every missile launcher, every defensive system that humanity had placed on Kepler 442b came online. Patricia received the warning in her office. A young woman named Susan came running in. Director Moore, there's a problem. The alarms are going off. Are we under attack? Patricia's heart began to race. In 15 years of living on Kepler 442b, she had never thought this day would come. She had prepared safety drills with the colony children. She had taught people what to do. But knowing about danger and facing danger were two different things. Get to the safe shelters, Patricia ordered. Start the evacuation protocols. Get the children first. The Vrel did not attempt conversation. They did not send messages. They simply began to attack. The first wave of fighters came in fast and hard. Lucas's defenses met them with laser fire and missiles. 3 Vrel fighters exploded in the upper atmosphere. But 10 more came through. Then 20. Then 50. The Vrel were not using normal weapons. They were using a kind of energy weapon that burned through human defenses like heat through ice. The outer defensive stations exploded one by one. Civilians in the outer settlements ran for shelter. Some made it. Some did not. Lucas watched the screens as his defensive line collapsed. He had known this might happen, but knowing something and experiencing it were different things. Good soldiers under his command were dying. He ordered them to fall back. He ordered them to secondary defensive positions. He knew they were fighting a battle they could not win. The Vrel landed troops at the main settlement. Large creatures that looked like massive insects came down in landing craft. They were tall and had powerful arms. They moved with terrible speed. Lucas sent his soldiers against them, but the humans were outnumbered 10 to 1. Patricia watched from the shelter as the fighting began. The screens showed Vrel soldiers moving through the colony. They were destroying buildings. They were looting equipment. They were not here to negotiate or to conquer in a normal way. They were here to take what they wanted and destroy what remained. They're hitting the school sector. Susan said, her voice shaking. Patricia's heart stopped. The school was where the children had gone. She had organized the evacuation there. The school had reinforced shelters. But if the Vrel attacked it directly, we have to do something, Patricia said. But there was nothing to do. She could only watch. Lucas sent every soldier he had to defend the school. It was not a military decision. It was a human one. The schools meant nothing in terms of military strategy, but they meant everything in terms of what was right. 47 soldiers died defending that school. They held the line long enough for most of the children to escape through tunnels to the secondary shelters. The Vrel commander did not care about the school. He did not care about the children. He cared about resource deposits in the eastern settlement. He cared about the technological equipment in the research centers. He cared about taking control of a strategic position, but he did not expect humans to fight like this. He did not expect soldiers to die protecting buildings that had no military value. He did not understand that for humans, protecting children was more important than anything else. It was not strategy. It was instinct. It was something that came from deep inside the human species. Something that came from millions of years of evolution on a harsh world. Lucas received a message from Earth after 6 hours of fighting. Captain Matthew Harper was coming. Harper was bringing ships and soldiers. Harper had disobeyed the Council's orders. Harper was coming to save the colony, but the Vrel did not wait. They increased their attacks. They sent orbital strikes against civilian settlements. They wanted to break the human will to fight. They wanted the colony to surrender. They wanted to move on and take the next world. Patricia organized the evacuation of civilians to underground shelters and prepared launch bays. Thousands of people gathered in domes and bunkers. They carried what they could. Many carried nothing but the clothes on their bodies. They were refugees now. Their homes were burning above them. 16 hours into the attack, Lucas received word that Harper's fleet was in system. The news went through the colony like electricity. People who had lost hope began to hope again. Soldiers who had been dying began to fight harder. The Vrel commander received a message that confused him. Human ships had arrived. Not council ships. Human ships. He looked at the message and thought this would be easy. Humans were a young species. Their ships would be weak. Their soldiers would be untrained. This would be a quick victory. He did not know that he had just activated something that the galaxy would never forget. He did not know that he was about to witness humanity's true nature. He did not know that he had made the mistake that would change everything. Captain Matthew Harper stood on the bridge of the human destroyer Columbia. His hands were steady. His eyes were cold. He had just entered the Kepler 442b system and seen the devastation. The colony was burning. Vrel ships filled the space above the world. Colonial defenses were failing. Harper did not hesitate. He did not request permission from the council. He did not consider politics or rules or consequences. He saw people dying. He saw a threat. And he responded the only way humans knew how to respond. With overwhelming force. All weapon systems active, Harper ordered. Target the Vrel command vessels. Full offensive posture. No holding back. His crew moved fast. They had trained for this. They understood what their captain was doing. They understood that they were breaking council law. They understood that they might face consequences. But they also understood that people were dying below, and that was all that mattered. The Vrel commander watched the human ships emerge from jump space. He counted them quickly. 3 destroyers, 6 frigates, 10 corvettes. Not a large force by council standards. The commander had 40 ships. He had numerical superiority. He had faced worse odds and won. Attack them, the Vrel commander ordered. Destroy the human ships. then finished the colony. The first exchange of fire was beautiful and terrible to watch. Laser beams crossed space. Missiles flew toward their targets. The Vrel ships were fast and powerful. They had technology that humans did not have. But humans had something that the Vrel did not expect. They had a different way of thinking about war. Harper's tactics were not clean or honorable. He did not fight like the other species the Vrel had met. When Vrel ships tried to outmaneuver his destroyers, Harper pulled his ships into close quarters. When Vrel ships tried to break his formation, Harper sent smaller ships to attack from unexpected angles. When Vrel ships prepared for coordinated strikes, Harper changed his entire strategy. A Vrel captain reported back to the commander, "The humans are not following standard engagement patterns. They change tactics too fast. They do not value their own ships. They are willing to take damage to cause damage." This was true. Harper understood something that the other species did not. In space warfare, most species tried to minimize their own losses. They tried to fight in a way that was efficient and clean. But humans were different. Humans would trade losses if it meant achieving their goal. Humans would send ships to die if it meant killing enemy ships or protecting people below. It was not efficient by other standards, but it was devastating. A Vrel destroyer exploded. Then another. Human ships were dying too, but the Vrel commander began to understand that this was not a fair fight. This was something different. This was rage given form. This was a species that had been underestimated and was now showing what it truly was. Harper coordinated with Lucas Wright on the ground. While the space battle raged above, humans launched an offensive on the surface. They moved fast and hard. They did not ask prisoners to surrender. They simply attacked. The Vrel soldiers on the ground had expected to face a small defensive force. Instead, they faced human soldiers who fought like they had nothing to lose. A human squad moved through the ruins of a settlement. A Vrel squad faced them. The humans took fire but did not stop. They kept moving forward. A human soldier was hit. She fell. Another human picked her up and kept moving. They returned fire while protecting their injured. The Vrel soldiers began to fall back. The humans kept coming. The humans kept fighting. This was what frightened the Vrel. It was not the weapons. It was not the tactics. It was the way humans fought. Humans fought with something that had no name in the Vrel language. It was desperation mixed with determination. It was the knowledge that they could not fail because people they loved were below. It was the willingness to die to protect those people got in space. Harper's fleet continued to push the Vrel ships back. He had lost one destroyer. 3 frigates were heavily damaged. But he had destroyed or damaged 30 of the 40 Vrel ships. The remaining Vrel ships were trying to break contact and escape. The Vrel commander made a decision. He would abandon the colony. He would retreat and regroup. He could not defeat this force. This force was different from anything he had faced. The humans were not trying to fight by any rules that made sense to him. They were not trying to be efficient. They were trying to annihilate him. "Withdraw all forces," the Vrel commander ordered. "Return to the fleet. We are leaving this system." The remaining Vrel ships began to flee. But Harper's ships pursued them. He did not let them escape easily. He damaged more ships. He destroyed one more vessel. He made sure that the Vrel understood that attacking humans would cost them dot as the last Vrel ships jumped to hyperspace. Harper received a message from Lucas Wright on the ground. The colony was secure. The Vrel had been pushed back. The colony had held, but the cost had been high. 12,000 colonists were dead. Most of the colony structures were destroyed. The farms were burned. The schools were damaged. But the colony was alive. The people were alive. Harper looked at his damaged ships. 183 humans had died in the space battle. Hundreds more had been wounded, but they had won. They had stood against an invading force, and they had won. Lucas Wright stood in his command station and watched the last Vrel ships disappear from the sensors. He did not feel victorious. He felt tired and sad and angry. He had lost good soldiers. The colonists had lost everything they had built. But they were alive. And Matthew Harper had come when the council would not doubt. Patricia Moore emerged from the underground shelter and looked at the sky above. Kepler 442b. The sky was filled with smoke. The colony she had spent 15 years building was now a ruin. But she was alive. Her people were alive. They could rebuild. Harper sent a message to the council. He reported what had happened. He reported that he had disobeyed their orders. He reported that the Vrel had been repelled. He reported that the colony had survived. Then he waited for the response. The response came quickly. The council demanded that Harper explain himself. The council demanded to know why he had acted without permission. The council demanded answers, but something had changed in space that day. The Vrel had retreated from humans. They had learned something that day. They had learned that humans were not like the other species. Humans were predators, and humans had just been activated. The Grand Council chamber was tense. The holographic displays showed the battle above Kepler 442b from many angles. They showed human ships engaging Vrel ships. They showed the final retreat of the Vrel fleet. They showed something that no one in the council had expected. Humans winning a battle against a superior force through sheer willpower and tactical ferocity. Elder Voss stood at the center of the chamber. His light-form body flickered with something that looked like anger. Around him, the other council members sat in their seats. Some looked shocked. Some looked worried. Some looked afraid. Captain Matthew Harper appeared on the holographic screen. He was on the bridge of the Columbia. His uniform was torn. His face was dirty. His eyes showed that he had not slept in days. But he stood straight. He showed no regret. "You have violated direct council orders," Voss said. "You have acted without council approval. You have engaged in military combat without authorization. These are serious violations of the council charter." "The colony was being destroyed," Harper replied. "The council said they would handle the situation. The council did not handle it. 50,000 people were dying. I stopped the killing. I did not stop to ask for permission." "You have endangered the stability of the entire council," Voss said. "Your actions have consequences. If every member species acts without council approval, the entire structure collapses." "The structure was already collapsed," Harper said. "The council ignored a threat that was obvious. The council refused to prepare. The council left a colony to die. I saved that colony. I am proud of my actions." Councilor Dex stood up. "The humans have proven something today. They have proven that they are willing to fight when others will not. They have proven that they have capability that is not matched by their technological level. The Vrel were repelled. This is a fact. The Vrel were repelled by human recklessness," another council member said. His name was Councilor Vex, and he was from a species called the Carathians. "This does not prove that humans are a benefit to the council. This proves that humans are unstable and dangerous." Ambassador Lin, the lead human representative to the council, stood up. She had a calm face, but her heart was beating fast. She understood what was at stake. Humanity did not act against the council. Humanity acted to protect its own people. This is something every species in this room would do. Would you not do the same if your colonies were under attack? "We would have waited for council authorization," Vex said. "We would have followed proper protocols. And while you waited, your people would have died," Harper said from the screen. "This is the difference. Humans do not accept the deaths of our people when we can prevent them. We will always act to protect our own. This is not something we can choose to do differently. It is what we are. The chamber filled with murmurs and discussion. The council had never faced a situation like this before. They had never had a member species openly defy their orders. They had never had to deal with a species that put the lives of its people above all other considerations. A representative from the Kelthian species spoke. Her name was Ambassador Sierra. I have studied the human species since they arrived at the council. I have learned that humans are driven by different motivations than us. Humans are predators. Humans evolved on a dangerous world. This has shaped their entire way of thinking. Where we see risk, humans see opportunity. Where we see diplomacy, humans see competition. Where we see safety, humans see the need to prepare for attack. Are you recommending we expel the humans from the council? Voss asked. No, Sierra said. I am recommending that we understand the humans. The Vrel have been a threat to us for centuries. We have lost many worlds to the Vrel. We have lost many people. The Vrel have never truly threatened human space because humans did not exist yet. But now that humans exist, the Vrel have attacked human colonies. And the Vrel have been repelled by humans in a way that the Vrel have never been repelled by us. This is significant. The footage played again. This time, more carefully. The council members watched as human soldiers risked their lives to save other humans. They watched as human ships maneuvered in ways that were illogical by council standards, but effective. They watched as humans fought with a kind of intensity that seemed almost frantic. They watched as humans refused to retreat or surrender, even when the situation seemed hopeless. Voss watched too. He was trying to understand. He was trying to see what Sierra saw. He was trying to understand why humans fought so differently. An older council member named Counselor Marth spoke. Marth was a historian. He had been part of the council for 500 years. I remember when humans first appeared in our databases. We had reports from our observation posts on Earth. The reports said that humans were dangerous. The reports said that humans had wars that covered entire continents. The reports said that humans killed millions of their own kind. We decided that humans were too violent to be trusted. We decided to wait until they evolved beyond this nature before contacting them. But humans did not evolve beyond it. Humans learned to control it. But the nature is still there. The reports were right. Humans are apex predators. So you are saying that humans are too dangerous? Voss asked. No, Marth said. I am saying that humans are exactly what we need. The Vrel have dominated the outer regions because no species wants to fight them hard enough. Every species sees war as a last resort. But humans see war as something they must do to protect their people. This makes humans more dangerous to the Vrel than any other species. This is not a weakness. This is a strength. The debate continued for hours. Some council members wanted to expel Harper and Earth from the council. Some wanted to forgive the violation and move forward. Some wanted to restrict human military power. Some wanted to embrace humans and give them more authority. In the end, the vote came. By a narrow margin, the council voted to forgive Harper's violation. By an even narrower margin, they voted to allow humanity to maintain its military forces. And by a very narrow margin, they voted to create the Human Defense Fleet, with Harper as Supreme Commander. But something had changed. The council understood now that humans were different. Humans would protect their people. Humans would fight when others would not. Humans would do what was necessary, even when it broke the rules. This was terrifying to some species. But to others, it was exactly what the council had been missing. Harper watched the vote results on his screen. He had broken council law. He had disobeyed direct orders. And he had been forgiven and promoted. It was not about the rules anymore. It was about results. The Vrel had been stopped. The colony had been saved. Everything else was secondary. The council chamber filled with quiet discussion. Some representatives were happy. Some were angry. Some were afraid. But they all understood one thing. The day they voted on what to do about Captain Harper, the day they decided to embrace humanity's nature, was the day they created the greatest military force the galaxy would ever know. That night, Harper sent a message to Earth. He told them what had happened. He told them that the Council had voted to support the human defense fleet. He told them that humans would now be the protectors of the Council space. He told them that humanity's role in the galaxy had fundamentally changed. And on Kepler 442b, Patricia Moore and Lucas Wright worked through the night, beginning the reconstruction. They knew that more attacks would come. They knew that the Vrel would be back. But they also knew that humans would be ready. They knew that humanity had answered the call. They knew that something had awakened in the human species. 1 year after the battle above Kepler 442b, the colony looked different. The burned buildings had been cleared. New structures were being built. But they were different from before. The new buildings were reinforced. They had underground shelters. They had defensive positions. The colony had learned that peace was something you had to fight to keep. Captain Matthew Harper stood on a platform overlooking Kepler 442b. He was no longer just a captain. He was Supreme Commander of the Human Defense Fleet. 17 new ships had been added to human space forces. 3 more were under construction. Recruitment centers had opened on Earth, Mars, and the colonies. Young humans were joining the military because they understood that the galaxy needed them. Harper watched the sunset. The purple sky turned orange and then red. He was thinking about the colonists below. He was thinking about the children who had been in the schools during the attack. They were safe now. They were growing up knowing that humans would protect them. Dr. Patricia Moore had stayed on Kepler 442b. She had rebuilt the colony director's office. She had reopened the schools. She had organized the farmers. But she was also different now. She understood that running a colony meant thinking about defense. It meant working with the military. It meant accepting that peace was fragile. One day, Patricia received a visitor. It was Elder Voss. He had come to Kepler 442b to see the colony for himself. Patricia took him on a tour of the rebuilt settlement. Voss saw the new defenses. He saw the reinforced shelters. He saw the military installations that had been integrated into the colony. He saw families living their lives while also preparing for conflict. He saw humans working in farms while also training in weapons. He saw the duality that defined the human species. Patricia took Voss to the memorial. A monument had been built for the colonists who had died in the attack. 12,000 names were carved into a wall of stone. Voss read the names. He looked at the faces that were displayed in a holographic display. He saw families. He saw children. He saw the cost of the Vrel attack. These people died protecting their colony, Patricia said. These people died because the Council did not listen when we asked for help. These people died, but their families remember them. And the galaxy remembers them. Voss did not respond. He stood in front of the memorial for a long time. He was reading the names. He was trying to understand what these deaths meant. He was trying to understand why humans cared so much about people that had already died. That evening, Patricia invited Voss to a dinner with the colony leaders. Harper was there. Lucas Wright was there. They sat together and talked about the colony and the future. Voss listened more than he spoke. The Council is changing, Voss said finally. Other species are now asking for human protection. The Kelthians have requested a human defensive station in their territory. The Meraki have asked for human ships to patrol their outer borders. Everyone wants protection from the Vrel now. That is because humans do not give up, Harper said. When the Vrel attack other species, the other species try to negotiate or hide. When the Vrel attack humans, humans attack back harder. The Vrel are learning not to attack humans. 17 Vrel ships have been destroyed in small engagements this year, Lucas said. The Vrel are becoming more cautious. They are avoiding human space. They are avoiding worlds that have human protection. Voss looked at Harper. Why did you come to Kepler 442b? Your orders were clear. You were told to stand down. You were told to observe only. Why did you violate those orders? Harper thought for a moment before answering. Because I am human. Humans do not stand by and watch others die when we can do something about it. The Council asked us to be part of the galaxy. Being part of the galaxy means protecting people. You cannot have one without the other. Voss nodded slowly. He was beginning to understand. He was beginning to see what the other council members had finally recognized. Humans were not just another species. Humans were something that the galaxy had been missing. The galaxy had been missing warriors who fought not for conquest but for protection. Over the next weeks, Harper expanded the human defense fleet. Ships were stationed at key points throughout human space and beyond. Young soldiers trained on every human world. Military academies were established. The galaxy was preparing. One day, Marcus Chun was leading a patrol near the outer territories when Vrel ships appeared. Marcus was a young human captain who had never experienced combat. He was nervous. His crew was nervous. But they were also trained. They had practiced for this moment. Marcus ordered his ship to engage. He used tactics that Harper had taught him. He maneuvered in ways that seemed illogical. He attacked from angles that the Vrel did not expect. And his ship defeated the Vrel ships. Marcus was wounded in the battle, but his crew survived. His ship was damaged but functional. When Marcus returned to base, he understood something. The Vrel were beatable. The Vrel were not invincible. Humans could win against them. And if humans could win, then they could protect the galaxy. News of the victory spread. More humans joined the military. More worlds requested human defensive forces. The transformation was complete. Humans were no longer diplomats or scientists. Humans were warriors. Humans were protectors. Years passed. The Vrel threat did not disappear, but it was contained. The Vrel no longer attacked human colonies. The Vrel no longer threatened human space. The Vrel had learned that attacking humans was the last mistake they would make. Harper eventually retired from active command. He trained a new generation of human military leaders. His lessons were simple. Protect those who cannot protect themselves. Never give up, no matter how bad the situation is. Fight with everything you have, because the cost of failure is too high. And understand that humans were created to protect. It was in their blood. On the day Harper retired, there was a ceremony at the memorial on Kepler 442b. Thousands of people gathered to honor him. Patricia Moore spoke. Lucas Wright spoke. Young soldiers spoke. They all said the same thing. Harper had shown them what it meant to be human. He had shown them that courage was not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite fear. He had shown them that humans could be both gentle and fierce, both kind and deadly, both peaceful and warrior. Harper stood at the memorial and looked at the names again. He thought about the people who had died. He thought about why he had disobeyed orders. He thought about the day the Council learned what humans truly were. As the sun set over Kepler 442b, Harper made a promise to the dead. He promised that humans would never forget. Humans would never let another colony fall to the Vrel. Humans would never abandon their responsibility to protect the galaxy. Humans would never forget that they were a species born from a harsh world, and that harsh world had created something special. It had created protectors. The galaxy had learned something on the day Kepler 442b was attacked. The galaxy had learned that humans were not just another species seeking peace and trade. Humans were apex predators who had learned to control their nature, but never to forget it. And when that nature was activated by the threat to innocent people, nothing in the galaxy could stand against it. Years later, when young soldiers studied the history of the human defense fleet, they learned about that day. They learned about Captain Matthew Harper and his choice to disobey orders. They learned about the colony that held while the council debated. They learned about the moment when humans showed the galaxy what they truly were. And in every classroom and in every military academy, they taught the same lesson. Humans were born to protect. Humans were born to fight for those they loved. The galaxy had awakened something on Kepler 442b, and that awakening had changed everything. The galaxy would never be the same.